I am He-Man, and these are some of the weirdest warriors you'll ever meet on Eternia. First, there's Faker. He looks exactly like me, except he's blue. Because apparently Skeletor's brilliant master plan was to build an evil copy of He-Man and just paint him blue. That's it. That's the disguise. Then there's Ram-Man, a hero whose entire battle strategy is basically launching himself headfirst at people. No sword, no clever tactics, he just runs forward like a human battering ram and hopes for the best. Next we have Jitsu, a master of martial arts, with one gigantic golden karate hand, which means every fight probably ends the same way, with one extremely powerful slap. Next we have Moss Man, a hero made entirely out of moss and plants, and the original toy actually smelled like a pine forest, which means he's probably the only warrior on Eternia who smells better after a battle. And somehow, these still aren't the strangest warriors of Eternia. First, there's Fisto, one giant metal fist, one giant problem, which is that his name is literally Fisto. Someone wrote that down, passed it around a room full of adults, and not one person said anything. And I'm not even saying they should have changed it. I just want to know what those meetings were like. Then there's Clawful, a giant crab warrior working for Skeletor. Because when you're building an army of evil, obviously what you need is a very angry lobster. Then there's Snakeface, a snake man whose face literally turns into snakes that can turn people to stone. So his Tinder bio? One look and you're rock hard. And then there's Blast-Attak, a robot whose entire ability is exploding into pieces, which means his big move in battle is basically self-destruct and hope for the best. And somehow, this still isn't the strangest it gets. Even I have no idea what the toy makers were thinking. First, Buzz-Off. Yes, a giant bee-man, leader of the bee people. He has wings, antenna, claws, and somehow he's built like a bodybuilder. He defends Eternia by buzzing at people. Then there's Stinkor, an evil skunk warrior whose main weapon is his smell. And the toy was actually scented, so Mattel literally sold a toy that smells like a skunk. Next, Spout, a cyborg elephant hero with a mechanical trunk that sprays water. So if Skeletor attacks Eternia, apparently we send in the robot elephant firefighter. Then we have Mosquitor, a giant vampire mosquito who drains energy from his enemies. And the toy had a pump in its chest that filled up with blood. Yes, someone made a children's toy where you pump blood into the monster. Then there's Rio Blast. Everyone brings battle axes and laser weapons, and this guy shows up like he just rode in from Texas. And believe it or not, Eternia gets even stranger than this. Wait until you see the next ones. First, there's Mantenna, a Horde spy with giant ears and eyes that literally pop out of his head, which is great for spying, but absolutely terrifying if he suddenly turns around and looks at you. Then there's Too Bad. Two villains fused together into one body. Two heads, one pair of legs, and they argue constantly. Next we have Modulok, a mad scientist monster whose entire body comes apart. Everything detaches. He's basically what happens when someone builds a villain out of spare parts. Then there's Leech, a Horde creature with giant suction cup hands that drain the energy from his enemies. Which means if he grabs you, the fight is pretty much over. And then there's Ninjor, a stealthy ninja warrior. On a magical planet full of snake monsters and giant insects, there's just a ninja. And somehow, Eternia still manages to get even stranger than this. First, there's Mekaneck, a heroic warrior whose power is extending his neck. That's it. In a world full of magic and monsters, this man's ability is basically just standing up taller. Then there's Grizzlor, a Horde villain who is literally just covered in hair. Not armor, not weapons, just hair. At this point, I'm not even sure if we're fighting him or grooming him. Next, we have Fang-Man, another reptile warrior working for Skeletor. Because apparently Skeletor looked at all his snake-themed villains and thought, you know what we need? More reptiles. And then there's Pigboy, a man with the face of a pig. No explanation, no reason, just Pigboy. At this point, I'm convinced someone is just making these up. And somehow, this still isn't the strangest it gets.